Sweet. Okay, cool. So purpose of these, like I say, every week is like when you do your check-ins, which most of you probably haven't done yet and I haven't read, when I read them, I'll base them like on the theme of that. Do you know what I mean? Because you all have very similar struggles. You all go through the same sort of things. And I like to sort of address it as a whole on here, really. And it just normalizes all the things that go on in your head and stop you implementing. Okay, so let's really like engage in these, like utilize the chat or shout out. That's completely fine. But I always start with a bit of a theme. I know quite a lot of people are going to catch up on this because you all have lives beyond me, believe it or not. But I wanted to talk about the importance of showing up. Okay, which is quite fitting because I created the 6-week show up. Like Adam, who's new here, probably doesn't have a clue what that is because he started this week. But we've got like a bit of a 6-week challenge. It's 6 weeks till Christmas. I've called it the 6-week show up, and it's just about showing up leading up to Christmas. And we've got a few benchmarks, which is getting your workouts in, all your steps, turning up to these, and what was the other one? I can't remember the 3 markers. Turn up to these. Oh yeah, and keeping your accountability up. Okay, so just doing the work and showing up. Okay, and like this time of year is like tough for a lot of people, whether it be for family reasons or things that have happened in the past, or like work commitments. I know there's a few guys like this is their busiest time of the year, like leading up to Christmas. And we do have this mentality ingrained into us that it's sort of okay to switch off. That it's busy. I'll start next year. But guess what? Like you've most of you got like at least another 50 years of this. So I don't know what about you, but I don't want to keep putting my life on hold for a third of the year, every year, knowing that you're going to feel terrible, exhausted, bloated, and like minging. Do you know what I mean? As well as at the same time, you don't want to be boring, do you? You don't want to keep saying no to things. Like you want to enjoy yourself, especially like recognize we're the back end of a pandemic. So like we want to enjoy things without the guilt. So I think we can all agree that we're probably on the same wavelength, give or take a few things. So just like pop in the chat or like say, yeah, if you can agree with me there. It's just quite useful for everyone to sort of see. Yeah, Tony's nodding.
Yeah.
And a nice little voice. Cheers, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's type, so just I'd rather talk.
No, talk out. Some people don't like talking out. Yeah, Amanda. Yeah. Go on, Patrick. I know you're there listening. Type in. Totally. Yeah. I have so many goals for the next year with my job and life. Yeah. I think a lot of people are probably figuring out, like Tony, how to type on their iPads and phones. It's okay. I'll just assume it's a renowned yes. But like, believe it or not, like I've celebrated Christmas like every year. I've never missed one. So the last thing I'm going to do is like tell you to not enjoy yourself. Like all I want you to do is show up. That's why we called it the 6-week show up. So if you can picture like a seesaw in your head, okay, like one end is Christmas and one end is like your goal. All we're trying to do is like balance out Christmas a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So that you go into January ready. You're probably already going to be motivated by January because we're all going to eat too much, drink too much, and like be put off, stuff like that, aren't we? Let's be honest. But we want to go in there in the best position mentally and physically, so you don't feel like you're starting from scratch again. So you almost get that running start in January. Like I say this, and a lot of you don't believe it, but you're like the top 1%. Okay, like a lot of people like I'm speaking to aren't interested. Like they've switched off. It's Christmas. Do you know what I mean? They stopped sharing their stories of their early morning gym sessions. They've stopped putting photos up of food. Like they've just stopped. But you haven't. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not expecting you to go full throttle. Like I want you to like picture like a dimmer switch. You know, one of them old school. I don't know if they make them anymore. Like you're not just switching it off. All I want you to do is just turn it down a little bit. All we're doing now is dimming down a few areas. Okay, like we're just going to coast at a higher level than we have in a long time. Like exercise, like you might use it as a form of therapy now rather than striving for a PB, unless you're mad and decide to do a half marathon tomorrow. Just let Jen in. Nutrition might be seen as a way of balancing out the old treat. Do you know what I mean? So you could set yourself a rule of like never back up a bad meal. Do you know what I mean? So if you've had like a bad evening meal, make sure your breakfast is class. You could set that as a little bit of a rule. And remember, we're trying to balance out that seesaw. Like you might keep your accountability up through the roof so that you're being a lot more honest with yourself and the choices that you're making. Like if you're honest, you're going to be much more aware. If you're aware, you're going to make a rational decision. If it's rational, you're in control of it and it's not in control of you. And you come to these coffee clubs, or you catch up on them because you're going to make that odd bad choice here and there. You're going to be surrounded by other people and you're going to get in your own head a little bit. So this is really useful to sort of almost like ground you, almost like brainwash you to realize that, yeah, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? Just like reset and go again. And just get back on that horse and realize that there's 30 of us in this group that are feeling just the same as you. Like, so lean into the group, lean into me, like lean into the program. Like this is the support system that's going to make January much, much easier. And it's going to make Christmas much more exciting, because I can guarantee, especially if you've just started your journey and you're like, oh, gotta get fit, Christmas is like, oh, for God's sake, a speed bump. We don't want that, do you know what I mean? And that's why we've created this 6-week show up. And more important than anything, like it's going to make you feel better about yourself. Like you see, like what got you where you are will keep you there. Do you know what I mean? So just think about that. So what got you where you are now is going to keep you there. The same routines, habits, and choices. So just showing up is something you would have done in the past is going to take you away from it and move you closer to where you want. So just let me know what stood out to you most in the chat. I know Jen's like missed the crucial part of it, but I'll send her the video. But what stood out to you there in the chat, if anything, or shout out? I'll just drink my coffee.
I like the don't back up a bad meal bit, Rob. You
What's
know,
that?
don't back up a bad meal. Yeah?
Yeah.
You have one bad meal and then I make the next one great. I mean, that's so easy to do.
Yeah, that's it. And just picture that seesaw in your head. And if you always just work in twos in your head, do you know what I mean? Bad meal, okay, good meal, balance. That's it. And it's not this big deal then, is it? And then if you can work like that up until like, and just allow yourself to enjoy Christmas. Like the 6 weeks goes up until I think the 20th. Do you know what I mean? And that 6 weeks is going to outweigh that week. I know that stands out for you, Tony, since we started, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because you were really anxious about Christmas when we were working, because you just started, really.
October, and obviously it's a bit like the new starters now, really.
Yeah, and I think that really stood out to you there, didn't it, when you started?
Yeah, because you lose, say for example, you lost 6 or 8 pounds, and you're thinking, I'm going to put that back on over Christmas, but you can't. You say it comes every year, doesn't it? Well, Christmas is 1 week of like 52 weeks in a year, isn't it?
Yeah, just recognize, like Tony said it on his spotlight, like he had it a little bit easier, really, because we were in lockdown, weren't we, at Christmas? You couldn't go out anyway. So like at the same time, like this year, this is why, like, I don't need to beat yourself up. Touch wood, like we're not in lockdown this year, so I want you to enjoy yourself. This is why I want you to show up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you can enjoy, like, we're not in lockdown this year, so like just enjoy yourself a little bit, but just do like the basic stuff. Adam, totally have set so many goals for next year of your life. I think for me, it's treating it like a job. You turn up every day and you move up that ladder. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you just treat it like a job, like I was thinking about this the other day, like even if you don't want to go to work, you still go to work, don't you? Because you have to. If you just have that sort of mindset and we just keep our standards a little bit higher.
I suppose it's like with me, Rob. I mean, me being self-employed, like if I don't turn up or I don't contact those clients, I don't get those jobs. Oh. So I've got to keep myself accountability for keep building the business. So I suppose if I can adopt that in life, I'll achieve so much more than like what I've ever done before.
Exactly. And the danger is, I know we're all guilty of it. If we're not going 1,000 miles an hour and being like that Instagram athlete, like we just beat ourselves up. Whereas we just need to be a little bit better than last week. Do you know what I mean?
But
Like-
like I said in my spotlight, you can't go from step 1 to step 10. You got to do 2, 3, 4, 5, haven't you? You can't just jump from one end to the other.
That's
You
it.
got to do the middle bit.
That's it. And like just little things like I said, like just getting in your steps in, going out for a walk. Like don't even call it your steps. You're just going for a walk just to get out of the house, the 4 walls of the house, just to clear your head. Do you know what I mean? Not steps. I think the danger is we latch onto steps. Like you're not exercising. You just want to feel better than you do now. Do you know what I mean? You're not on a diet plan. You're just not backing up the bad meal you had before. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that sort of mindset shift is like all that's needed for you to show up. And then you can like enjoy Christmas. And then all you're doing is kicking off with the standards that you've laid. Because within a few weeks, like this week will be harder, next week will be a little bit easier. Within a few weeks, it'll just be a thing. Do you know what I mean? And then you build it. A lot of you have been here for a while anyway, and you're like, you've got your standards in place. So all we need to do is just elevate them a little bit. But like the likes of Adam and stuff like that, like just showing up, just really focusing on just showing up over the next few weeks, like is going to be a game changer. So that January, like we just build from that. Do you know what I mean? Is that useful?
It does, yeah. And I suppose with the way as well is if you don't turn up, you almost say, "Oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it the week after." And then, but if you don't turn up the week after, you're still digging yourself deeper in that hole, and you're not going to get to the top.
Yeah, like I'm not bothered about you falling off the horse. Like all of you will have like slipped up many times, and you beat yourself up. So I start Monday. I'm bothered about how quick you get back on. I don't care if you fail 7 times in the week. I just want you to get back on every time. Because what you're going to do is get really good at getting back on the horse, and you'll fall off less. Do you know what I mean? You just got to do the reps. Like
when I started with you, I would make one bad decision and then kind of write the whole day off. So I was like, okay, well, I had a bad lunch, so I'll have a bad dinner, and then I'll probably have a couple of drinks as well. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But then it took me a long time to realise I was in control of when I pressed the reset button. So if I had a bad lunch, I could say, okay, let's press that reset button now, and I'll have a good dinner, and I won't have the drinks. But I was in control of that.
Yeah.
So
that's it. It's just recognizing that, isn't it? It's like I just want you to get really good at getting back on the horse, like, and that's it. Like we're in the middle of a pandemic. No one knows what's happening. Well, not in the middle, at the end of it, but no one knows what's happening. You can't control a lot of things. You can't control family matters. I know there's a few that have got family issues going on. You can't control that sort of stuff, but you could just get back on the horse as quick as you can. And when you recognize that moment when that bad thing happens, that curveball comes in, the first thing you're thinking about isn't like sabotage. It's just focusing on being present, because like you need to be there for your family, or you need to deal with the situation. You don't need to be, I can't stick to plan. Oh, I'm going to sack it off. That doesn't even need, you can get back on. Do you know what I mean? And we just want to build like a series of like, this is why like I like it when you struggle. It sounds bad and sadistic, but because you get very good, like I then know over time that you're not gonna fall off the wagon, we know. And the people that come and go in this program are the ones that never really got that. They just fell off, and like I couldn't help. Do you know what I mean? And that's what happens. Like, I can't help everyone.
Weird way. It's like me. I mean, I was meant to have a very important client meeting. Like we'd prep for the meeting and everything. The client decided to go with someone else, and it's not sort of diminished me in thinking, is my business good enough? Am I good enough as a photographer or anything? And I thought, well, no. What I've got to do is just keep going and still get those contracts coming in, but not let a tiny little thing like that diminish me and sort of think, is the guy that they're going with better than me? I'm thinking, well, no, it's not. It's their choice, but it doesn't make me a bad photographer.
Yeah, we all make. I love the saying, like, you can save a pregnant woman from a burning building, and someone will call you a twat for kicking the door down. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just can't keep everyone happy. You just saved a woman's life, but nah, you're still a twat. You broke his door, and it's like you can't please. But what we do is we'll focus on that one thing. We all do it. Like I do it. If like I'll be buzzing if like say 75% of you are crushing it, but one person struggles, and that really chinks me. Like I'm like, oh, is my program right? And da da da. Do you know what I mean? But you just need to focus on what's going well. And this is why I get you to reflect in your plan. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially this time of year, if historically, like, you struggle this time of year because of whatever. I know there's people who've got personal issues this time of year, and historically, this is like, just focus on what is going well. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is going. You're going to feel the same next year, but let's just focus on what is going well. And we're really guilty of forgetting about that. Like, oh, I did actually show up today. I did actually make that better choice. I did actually have a bad day, but I rescued this. I did. Do you know what I mean? The small little things, rather than Susie said something in work and that ruined my whole day. So then I went to McDonald's and confirmed everything she said to me. Do you know what I mean? Just don't do it. I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent there, but is that useful?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, some questions. You can either like speak up or like type them in the chat or whatever. So what stopped you implementing things this week? Like, what stopped you showing up like how you wanted to? Is there any speed bumps that came up that you can recognize? I know, like with John, is his flipping boat. Does anyone want to buy a boat? I think I might save up for it and buy it just to get it off your case. But what stopped you like showing up how you wanted to this? Because like, even though you showed up, there'll be things that you're always going to think, I didn't show up as well as I could have. Do you know what I mean? Like, what stopped you? Does anyone want to share? It might help other people.
I think with me, it's probably work. This week I've been traveling a bit further than I usually do. So I'm an electrician, so I pick an apprentice up, and then some of you are probably aware Wrexham's traffic is a bit hectic at the moment. All the roads seem to be fudged, so it's like adding in an extra hour, 2 extra hours onto the journey, and that was sort of getting me down because I'd maybe skip the gym strength session in the morning, and then in the afternoon I'm like getting back demoralized from work, and it's like, oh, gotta do this, gotta do that. And then I think the main reason stopping me was probably work, but then I'm thinking, well, if I joined the gym in the morning, I have no excuses then, because it'd be like more of a routine than going to the gym first, then doing all that.
That's it. And it's just something you can learn from it, isn't it? Like, you can't, like, it's just recognizing, being like, like stuff like the traffic and that you can't control. Just like draw a line under it. That sort of takes me on to the next question. Like, how can you make it, like, how can you sort of make next week easier this weekend? Like, what plans or things can you put in place to make your next week easier? So where you struggled this week, how can you make it easier next week?
Yeah. Is that a question to me or everyone?
Well, just generally, you don't have to answer.
Oh,
like,
generally.
But like, if anyone wants to share, it might be useful for other people.
Sure. Time management for me then. Like, I'll just throw my answer out there. Time management. I could have planned things easier to avoid those traffic and situations that made me slack last week.
Yeah.
Generally planning ahead.
Awesome.
It's the same for me. I think it's prepping. I think because I've got a lot of meetings this week, and I've got a few client shoots. So I think it's prepping my food the night before, and then putting the slow cooker on in the day, so I know when I get home at, like, say 8 o'clock at night, there's food there to go, and I'm not thinking, oh, I've got leftover pizza in the fridge or whatever. I can just go to that slow cooker and it's a hot meal ready to go then.
Yeah, love that. Spot on. Yeah, and it's just thinking, just like learn, like pick one thing where you struggled last week and make it better. Like Amanda said, being away with work all week, which was unplanned, long hours. Yeah, nothing we can do about that. What she can do next week, plan her whole week, write down timings and food. I know, Jen, you're massive on like planning hour by hour. Have you got anything you, Jen, that can make your week a little bit easier? Little things.
So I have started planning my week out again, and I've got mine and my partner's meals, and then I've put where we are and what shifts we're doing and when we're going to eat together and when we're not going to. It's all of those, because then all the knowns are on the piece of paper, and then if if there's an unknown, we can always go back to, okay, but we already know this, so you can do anything else, but at least we've got this time and this meal that's set in stone already at the weekend.
Yeah, love that. Spot on. And what do you think you can do this weekend to rescue the week? This just recognises 2 days left of the week. So if your week hasn't ticked over, like, or gone the way you want, like I know with Amanda, like she's been dead busy working away and she's going to the gym, she's got a walk planned with Louise, so like she's rescuing her week. So what can you do this weekend to rescue your week if you need to?
It's like John's talk. I think it was John's talk. Anyway, he went about, instead of doing a to-do list, he did a what he's done list. So that's really helped me, because I suffer really bad from anxiety and depression, and I've started thinking more positive. Then, say, like last week, where I was just on about the traveling, and I wasted this, I didn't do that. I've gone and thought, well, I ate healthily throughout the week. I planned my meals during the day, and then I just generally thought about the positives instead of thinking the bad things that went wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know if that applies to the question or.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. Something which is quite useful to do as well, which is sort of like John's idea, which is like I write down like the top 3 things I need to do in the day, but I'll just write the 3 things, and then when I've done them, I'll add on things. So I love adding onto the list rather than having a massive list and then, getting stressed. So that's a good way of thinking about it. So if you have maybe like a week of, if you know what you need to do for the week, and just write it down, but day by day you have a list of just 3 things that you want to get done, but then you add to that list. That's very similar to like the to-da thing. So what I mean, it's just like it's like, oh, I only planned these 3, I've got them done in, and then I did da. And before you know it, you'll get to the end of the week and you've done most of the stuff on the big list anyway. And if you've had a dead busy day, the good thing about having just 3 things planned is curveballs. Do you know what I mean? Always comes in. Like worst case, you've only got to do 3 things. Best case, you get 10. Do you know what I mean? But that's a good mindset shift. So
yeah,
we all know we need to do things, but just plan and the minimum and then add to it. And yeah, like just celebrate all the good things. Like that's why I put it on your app, what you're grateful for, like all the little things that you don't think about, because that's going to protect your armor, when you're feeling a little bit chinked.
I'm getting better at that. I'm really bad at doing that. The grateful for things. I struggle. I used to struggle with that. Trying to think.
The thing is, it's trying to get you to do is like think about that. Just have that thought process more than anything, and do the rep. So the reason I get you to write it down is so because it's a trigger, and then you write like I would just want you to be able to be like, this is a crap week, and it's that but that I want. Do you know what I mean? That moment where you're like, but this, even though you still feel terrible, you're still actually rationalizing. And that's the thing that's going to just allow you to keep going. That's why I put it on your plan. Not everyone does it. It's not for everyone. It's a bit heebie-jeebie. And there's going to come a point, like my coach used to get me to do it. I was with him for a year, didn't really do it. And then this year I thought, like, when I had Polly, I was like, right, I'm going to start doing it. Did it for a little bit. Didn't really bite. And then now I probably after a couple of months of doing it, I've started to see the value in doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. Any other shares? This is your time, really, or asks? Like,
I go not always, but if I got a chance, I go food shopping on a Sunday. Why I do that is I'll get like my fruit, my veg, my protein, my eggs, etc. So Monday morning, I open the fridge and my food's ready for the week. I've got good stuff ready on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
I know not everyone can go shopping at the weekend, but for me that works. So Sunday, my fridge is full of all the good stuff, and I haven't got to panic about going in the week, and all my stuff's ready.
Yeah, that's an absolute game changer. Like we've always done a weekly shop, get all the bulk stuff in, and then we add to it in the week if we need to. Something we're trying to do, but we can't set it up, is set up an online shop just to save time. Like So you'll just buy the same stuff all the time, and it's just easy. It's just there, and all we have to do is press a button. Like with Polly, we just find shopping sometimes a little bit of a nightmare, but that's a good thing of doing it. Like if you shop at Tesco or whatever, you can just reorder the same things. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like we
can't
have the
remember
same.
if I've told you before as well, but the Asda online shop, you can go through and select the recipes and just add all the ingredients into your
Oh,
basket.
really?
So it's like there's
Wow.
no excuse. It's so easy.
Ah, did not know that.
That
Oh,
is good.
unless I'm going to shop at Asda.
I don't work for
instead.
them.
Is that an Asda top behind you? Yeah, that's actually such a class idea, isn't it? There's literally no excuse. Like, I don't know if some of you saw my video in the group this week about like making food easy. Do you know what I mean? But like me and Steph tend to buy like staples that are always in the cupboard, just for when it's dead busy, that are dead quick. I put that in the Facebook group the other day, but just try and have a think. Like, if you're going to do a weekly food shop, how can you have like things in all the time to make your life easier? Like we always have stuff that we can just throw stuff in. There's frozen veg in the freezer. So if Polly is being like Satan, like an absolute disaster, it's like, oh, we'll just chuck that in. It's not too bad. It's there.
When I'm planning my meals as well, I plan them so the more complicated, more involved things are towards the beginning of the week, and the easier things are towards the end of the week. So by the end of the week, I'm literally making meals that take 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's it. And
yeah.
that's really good. That's recognizing that you're most motivated Monday to Wednesday and tired at, yeah, like we're exactly the same. We make a pizza on a Monday. Friday tends to be like, you know, a little bit more like weekend vibe, a little bit easier. So it's just recognizing that. Awesome. If you've got any questions or asks, fire away. This is your time.
I imagine online shopping's probably taking away your temptation as well, because you know, as you walk into a supermarket, the first thing you see is like 24 Jaffa cakes for £1. You're like, oh, for God's sake, they're right in front of your face, aren't they? And they do that for a reason, don't they?
Yeah.
No,
so
that's stupid.
If online, you're taking that away, aren't you?
Yeah.
You think that?
Yeah.
It quite work like that.
Online is online's like when you check out, it's like, have you thought about adding these? There's an offer. Actually, buy this and get this before you know it.
It's like in our office at the minute. We have on a Friday, we have accountants come in who's like part of one group, and they all have fish and chips. And I mean, that smell is so tempting, and I'm sitting there eating like my salad or my pasta. I'm thinking, shit, I want fish and chips now. You're almost gnawing at the table. So I suppose it's trying to get over that like hump. I struggle with breakfast sometimes. So when I get up in the morning, I'm thinking, do I want to do overnight oats? Do I want to do like scrambled egg on toast? And I suppose it's trying to find something that you're happy to have quite regularly, but not get bored of, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah, just explore what you like and don't like. Some people like breakfast, some people don't. Just recognize how you feel throughout the day. Do you know what I mean? Like no one died of having just one fish and chips.
No, it's true.
Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
So like, if you want to have fish and chips with them, have them, but just do the work the other side of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I know you've watched that non-negotiables training, and I say it's like it's the work that people don't see that gets you the results. The amount of times I've gone to parties and people are like, how do you eat all that? Yeah, but you haven't seen that I was up at 5:30 in the morning, and do you know what I mean? And that's the sort of vibe you want.
They don't see the before, they only see the after, I suppose. It's like with what Tony was saying about when you go out for a beer with your mates. They go, you know, if you're on, I thought you're on diet, you know, why you're on a beer. They don't see the before bit really. Yeah,
and that's exactly it. The amount of times if you start with a coach, oh, I thought you'd been good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and straight away that it's like, oh, should I be doing this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like
they don't see you working as a Friday, do they?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No. It's like me. Weirdly, I've just had a quote off a client now. Well, I've just given a quote to a client for a wedding, and they said, oh, that's expensive. But once I broke down the quote, they were like, oh, that's all right. That's why it's so expensive. I was like, that's why then.
That's it.
They just see the end, don't they?
They just want the photos and that's it, really. They don't want the hard work that goes into it.
That's it. That's why transformation photos are like good, but it's like, oh, I just want that. Yeah, but you didn't see like how hard you flipping worked for it.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I mean. Like I said on the spotlight, I said if you post your results, for example, on Instagram, you might get 100 people commenting and liking, but you might only get 5 or 6 encouraging you for the last 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
You only want to see the prize at the end of it, don't they? They don't want to know the hard graft you do.
It's the world we
And that's
live
just the
in.
way it is. You just have to like it. That's just the way it is, isn't it?
Amazon Prime world, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like-
next day delivery, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the world we live in. That was awesome, that, guys. I don't want to keep you too long. I do appreciate you coming on Saturday. If you've got any questions, please just ask away or drop me a message. Like I said, the biggest thing for you guys right now is to like lean in to like me, the program, each other. Do you know what I mean? Like if you are struggling, just drop me a message, and like we can literally get you sorted straight away. Do you know what I mean? So don't struggle on your own. Just show up, and yeah, be a pest. Like ask. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, that's it. You're free to go, guys. All good.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, good luck,
See you
guys.
later.
See you later.
Good luck. See you later, guys.